This texture completely changed the way the monolith looked. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how I created it from start till finish. At this point, the table looked okay. The Rockcote quick float finish had given me a nice solid base, but it really still felt like a rendered box. It didn't have the depth or the character I was looking for. I really wanted the piece to feel more architectural, something that looked handcrafted, but it had a sense of age and texture to it. Before any texture could be applied, I needed to protect the travertine. Travertine is a natural porous stone, so taking the time to tape it and cover it properly is really important. The last thing I wanted was render contaminating the stone finish. Once everything was protected, I mixed up half a bag of Rockcote Coarse Render, which I also added a small amount of Bondcrete to help improve the adhesion and mixed it to a fairly wet consistency. This way it could be flicked easily onto the surface. Now comes the fun part. When applying the texture, I wasn't really trying to create a pattern. In fact, I was trying to avoid one. I wanted the finish to feel random, organic, but with enough variation for light to catch and its shadows differently across the surface. The true goal wasn't perfection. The goal was character. One thing that was super important is that the render beads on the corners, although they make everything nice and straight up and down, I didn't want them to stand out. So I was really focused on making sure that I got enough texture on those corners, so they don't look fake when they're painted, and so they actually match into the whole project. And as I walk around the table, I'm constantly stepping back. I'm looking at it from different angles. Texture is one of those things that it's so hard to judge up close. Sometimes you need to take a few steps back and look at the whole piece. The other challenge in this process, it can get really messy really quick. I like to keep a wet sponge nearby. It makes cleanup much easier. One thing I also wish I did is not use a drop sheet. I wish I actually used black plastic. It's much easier to clean up after the fact. Once I was happy with the coverage, it was finally starting to look the way I imagined. The flat rendered box was disappearing, and something much more architectural was starting to emerge. At this point though, the render, it really needs to firm up a little bit. If you hit it too early with a trowel, you're going to smear everything around. If you wait too long, it becomes difficult and it won't knock down as much as you want. So I left mine for around 30 minutes, but that's all going to depend on the weather and the conditions where you are. And then came my favourite part of the process, the knockdown. This is where the texture starts to settle. The surface develops its final character. The goal isn't to flatten everything, it's to soften the high points, while keeping enough texture to create depth and a shadow. This is the stage where it really starts to come to life. Once the texture had been all knocked down and fully cured, it was ready for paint. I kept the coating system very simple. Every product had a purpose. Lime Lock Sealer by Resene and Resene Lumbercider for the two top coats. And I'm so happy with how it came out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.